Bitch!
Welcome to the Unimaginary Friendcast. This is Livestream, episode 278. This is a conversation with your best friends. We are the best friends.
I am Nathan Von Edmondson.
He's off screen. I'm Aaron Marie Betty Davis Jr.
And I am DavidMonster.com Drawlinger.
You have a new last name?
Sure, why not?
All right. I like it. I dig it.
Thank you.
So tonight we were supposed to, this was advertised to the press, we had a press release that Nurse Sandy was supposed to come back on the show, and she was going to talk us through everything we need to know about the COVID-19 variants. If you remember, some months ago she came on and talked about COVID. But unfortunately she got called to the ER because she's an ER nurse, so she's doing all kinds of emergency shit at the ER. But we are armed with all kinds of facts and things that you need to know about the Delta variant and what we should be doing about it. And we're also going to be touching on the Lambda variant, which is a fun new variant. But first, any news, guys?
Ooh, breaking news. I'll go first.
Okay.
Come on.
Well, I woke up this morning and I realized that Aaron had stolen my entire look.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You guys look beautiful. You guys should make like a twinsy makeout video. You guys can make a ton of money.
If I had more time, I could have done his hair better.
Both of you guys go like this and go, ah, and they go, ah.
She wanted to grow a beard, and I was like, okay.
I tried.
At the same time, say, "'Cause we're worth it."
Because we're worth it.
I see a show here. You guys should do a fucking show of some kind with this.
I wish we had time to make his hair straighter.
I know.
It's pretty good.
Dude.
It looks
Dude.
translucent
It
right now, though.
does.
It does. It looks like ombre. Did you ombre it?
I don't know what that means.
Oh my gosh.
You know, like when it's a gradual color, like girls do a gradual color towards the bottom. That's what it looks like.
I guess I did.
Can I go?
Okay.
So these episodes are kind of going to be released out of order. Not out of order, but like out of the date that we're recording. So technically, this is going to be released in 2 weeks from the live stream date, which is going to be basically the 20th anniversary of 9/11. So I just wanted to throw that out there because we're, when we actually record during that time, we'll be recording for weeks ahead. And I wouldn't have crossed my mind, except I'm working on this big documentary project for Rolling Stone that is interviewing Muslim and like Arab artists and like musicians that talking about their experience on 9/11, after 9/11, and how it affected their career. And those will be released around the 20th anniversary of 9/11. So it should be interesting to release those, but it was also interesting hearing their experiences and how for some people like made their career, and for some people it just destroyed their life and they're in therapy for trauma.
It destroyed their life? Wow.
Yeah. Like it was really traumatic. So people got like immediately were pigeonholed as being, okay, you're different. You have this background that is considered bad now, and you're considered a terrorist, and then we're going to bully you, and you're not going to fit in anymore. So I don't know. It's been really eye-opening for me to learn about people's experiences.
I was thinking about this recently because, so it's 20 years to 9/11. It was also 20 years to when I went to London, which was a very significant time in my life. And partially because of 9/11, it really had an impact on that experience for me. It was a semester abroad. And I was just thinking about how 9/11, it's like a trauma to a body, right? There's like the place where the knife went in, or the wound happened, and there's like damage and death and horrendous trauma. But then there's like bruising and scarring, like bruising that goes out from everywhere. And then there's just like the psychological damage to that being, which I kind of attribute to those who are, just everyone who's indirectly or directly affected by that event. Yeah.
Wow.
I've seen those videos.
Yeah, it would be good. I will share them somewhere that you may or may not see.
Speaking
Yeah.
of trauma,
I
should I
know.
go up and deal with this little angel?
Our angel has awoken again. David, what's your name?
Well, I had a really hard day today. She left.
No, I'm here. I'm trying to get the gold star ready.
I'm going to tell you my news. I just had a really hard day. I've been rushing around like crazy. I just ran in and through that. People are like so rude though. People can be like, people will just like be like, dick, dick. They're just like screaming dick at me all day long. And it's just been really rude. But anyways, you have your choice of news stories that you can have. The number one is chimpanzees. Number two is Vela stories. Number three is Time's Up. And number four is national parks.
National parks.
We are going to do a future podcast on this. And because Erin is a huge champion of national parks, and she did a podcast all on national parks.
I did.
There's one fact I think you overlooked, or you probably weren't looking for it, so it didn't come out. But all of our national parks, all of them in the United States of America, are what? Every inch of them is what?
Federal land.
Yes. But what was it before it was federal land?
Native American.
Taken from Native Americans. And I didn't know this, but Teddy Roosevelt had one of the biggest genocides in our history when he just would kill a whole bunch of Indians who didn't want to get off the land.
I didn't know that. I'm not surprised that they were all former Native American land, because technically all land was.
Yeah.
So.
But it was land that they were living on at the time because they couldn't live anywhere else because they were kicked off that land. And then they were kicked off and there's a movement to give it back to them as reparations, but for them to be the custodians of it, and then they'll get the money from people who go to camp on those lands and stuff, which I think is fine. And I think it could be really interesting. I think they should build Native American villages and stuff. I think they can make a really good go of it.
I mean, it's like, who do you trust more? Like, I feel like in the wrong hands at any level, whether it's like, federal or like down to like a regular person to a Native American community, like anybody can screw that land up, screw that whole system up. I have a little bit more faith maybe in the federal government. I know I'm like the only person in the world that believes that.
I know, but I mean,
these spaces, I'm not happy to hear that it was stolen from people, but I would want, if it were to be given back, I feel like it would need to be given back with like rules, like you can't build casinos in the park.
Oh no, they're saying give it back as the public parks, but they'll run it and they'll receive the profits from it.
Okay, so it's just like for financial things, so there'll still be like oversight.
Yeah.
National Park Service. Okay, hey, why not? Let's do it.
And they want to build memorials to say what happened on that land, because a lot of the land, they were just slaughtered on, or just driven off of, and like there were cities that were just torn down and stuff.
Really?
Yeah. So they want to build memorials and educate people. I think it's a good idea.
I want to learn more about it. I hope we do a podcast on this.
Yeah, let's do a podcast on it.
Right. Cool.
Okay. All right. So we did that one. Sorry, what?
I don't know if you're ready to move on to the gold star.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. This week's gold star. Are you cueing the graphic?
Oh God. See, it's so hard. I have the hardest job in show business.
We have a gold star this is a repeat gold star, and a gold star for the same reason, but a different occasion.
Is it a lesbian?
I don't know, actually. I don't think so. Aunt Josie. Josie is the Friendcast's favorite aunt, and she's gotten the gold star before because she is a big supporter of not only our show, but our littlest member, our daughter. And we just got a package in the mail today with another surprise that we didn't know was coming, and I want to show it. So
Oh my God, okay.
if you're listening, if you're just doing the audio podcast, you're going to miss this. But hey, this is for everybody that's watching. Ready?
Hey, you know what they say? If you're only listening, you're only getting half the story. But go ahead,
All right, I'm gonna put my mic down for a second, okay? Ready, David?
Okay. Oh, that's cute. What does it say?
It says Fabulicious, but it's got matching tutu pants.
Oh my God, is that going to be her costume this year?
Absolutely. So we just got this lovely surprise in the mail from Aunt Josie, and we wanted to give
I got.
a little shout out, a special thank you.
Well, I guess she deserves a gold star because I posted on. Have you ever seen the TV show That Girl from the 60s?
No, I have not.
Do you know who Marlo Thomas is?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Marlo Thomas was the star of that, and then she went on to become a feminist. But the show I thought was about an independent young woman trying to be an actress in New York, and I've been watching it recently. And it's about a spoiled, rotten, little entitled white bitch is what it's about. It's about a woman who's absolutely not a feminist. She's supported by her parents, and she orders her boyfriend to buy her things and to pay for things and stuff like that. And so I made a post on Facebook that, like, oh my God, I can't believe that all these years I thought it was a whimsical little show, and it's just about a Karen, a 60s Karen cunt. And so Aunt Josie sent me this T-shirt.
Oh my God! That's so you.
So I'm gonna probably put like "fuck that girl" or something like that on it, because everything from our past, you gotta watch it with new eyes, because like I Love Lucy is horrible now too. I can't even watch it. Lucy's such a cunt to Desi, and Desi's such a dick to Lucy, and it's just bad. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, but it's awesome. And she sent me another T-shirt, but I don't know where that one is either. But I know Aunt Josie's like our Santa Claus.
No, it just came out of nowhere. It was such a great surprise. So
thank you, Aunt Josie. Aunt Josie, she's not even watching.
I know.
We should take away the gold star if she's not going to show up.
Well, let's give her one more chance to show up.
One more chance. Okay.
All right. Shall we get into this episode?
Sure, let's do it.
All right. The Delta variant.
The Delta variant. So yes, as you said, Nurse Sandy was scheduled to show up, but she couldn't because her ER at the hospital where she works is overcrowded, and they needed her for overtime. So that answers our first question, which was going to be, is the Delta variant a hoax?
Yeah, I guess it's not a hoax.
So she sent a quote that says, "It is real. It is not a hoax. Now children are dying. Healthy children are catching COVID and dying. Please get vaccinated. Please get vaccinated." That's from our resident medical expert, Nurse Sandra.
That's what Sandy said? Like,
yes.
Yes,
and I have other quotes for her too that I'm going to read throughout the thing. So I pulled some facts about the Delta variant, and it's going to intersperse with quotes from Nurse Sandy. Should I launch into them?
Yeah, and I have some stuff too, but I'll pepper it in whenever it comes up. So
okay, cool. Number one, the Delta variant is highly contagious, and Nurse Sandy concurred. She said it's much more because it mutates. People don't realize that viruses mutate. They change, they adapt to their hosts. Go ahead, yeah. And
it accounts for 80% of the cases now.
Yes.
So the dominant strain, like the more contagious strain, is the more like the dominant strain now.
Yes. And the Delta variant systems. The Delta variant symptoms are the same as just regular COVID symptoms, which typically Vaccinated people are either asymptomatic or have very mild symptoms, which is more like the common cold, cough, fever, or headache, and significant loss of smell. And of course, people that are unvaccinated are having harsher symptoms and even deadly symptoms.
But what they are seeing is that people are actually getting sicker quicker, and like younger people than before with the non-variants are getting sicker.
Yeah.
So that's the one difference.
Yeah, which I don't understand why the young people haven't been vaccinated yet. It doesn't make any sense. If they're pushing for vaccinations, I don't understand why they're not.
Yeah.
It makes no sense, especially since they're saying that a lot of people aren't getting vaccinated, so they have surpluses and they can go ahead. I don't get it. I don't understand anything at all.
Yeah.
The Delta variant is affecting vaccinated people much more. 97% of the patients hospitalized since July 22nd are unvaccinated.
That's
Let
crazy.
me repeat that. 97%.
That's crazy.
Are unvaccinated. Yes. Now, breakthrough cases for vaccinated people are rare, but they do happen.
You know what? And I've been hearing them more and more happen, which is making me wonder.
Yes.
Like I know personally some people that are vaccinated that are sick.
But they're not dying, right? They're sick, but they're
definitely
not
having better outcomes, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to get sick at all, so.
No, I don't want to get. You haven't had it, right?
Not that I know of. I want to talk a little bit about asymptomatic COVID.
Oh, has it gotten close to you? Has anyone close to you gotten it?
Yeah, like close family has, yeah.
Really? I didn't know that. Who?
I don't want to say.
Oh, is it someone who's unvaccinated?
Well, they were at the time, but there was no vaccination at the time. So.
Oh, okay. All right. And then many vaccinated patients with COVID-19 wish they had gotten the vaccine. And I have and Sandra Jean backs it up with a very sad. Are you ready for a very, very sad quote from Sandra Jean?
Yes.
She says, "We had a 25-year-old mother of 4. Her youngest was 1 year old. Her whole family is ill. One of her last comments before she died was she wished she had gotten vaccinated."
Oh my God.
Isn't that insane? And they're hearing that. They're hearing this. She says they're hearing these people say these things. Obviously, not everyone dies, but I'm just going to, since we're already sad, I'm going to give her other sad quotes.
All right.
Are you ready? It's super sad. Are you ready? It's like heartbreaking. It might make you cry.
Okay.
Are you ready? If you cry, but we want to see it though. Like let the viewers see it. She said one pregnant mom was COVID positive and had a C-section. She was sick. She took a picture with her baby with her mask on, and then she took one without her mask, and she held her breath, but she gave the baby a little kiss, and then she got sick, and then she died.
Like like she didn't get to go home with the baby at all?
Yeah. So they have to be really super, super, super strict. We gotta I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Sorry, go ahead, yeah.
And yesterday,
yeah.
And they basically were doing this, is that they were bringing people on that were close to someone that had died, that had regretted not getting the vaccine. So they were telling that person's story. And it was always like, this person's dead now, and they wish they had gotten the vaccine. This was their last words. It was like story after story after story. And I know that's kind of, I do recognize that that's CNN's MO, is like, they're like to fearmonger a little bit, but like these stories are real. And
I know that's the thing, is I didn't believe him until Nurse Sandy told me, because I don't know, because it's true. Like both sides of the news story, they want to tell their narrative and they have a product to sell. But Sandra Jean calls bullshit when she sees bullshit. Like she would not tell me this if she didn't see it or didn't witness it.
And like she's working in the ER, like with COVID directly, right?
I don't know exactly what she's doing. Because she was an ER nurse for 30 years and now she's doing something different. But because of COVID, they had to pull her back into the ER. to deal with things.
Yeah.
So I don't know if she's working directly with them, but that's one of the things I want to ask. We will have her on at some point because she has so many out of control stories, like crazy stories just over the years of things. And I'm sure that she has more now with COVID and stuff. So the experts like Nurse Sandy recommend wearing masks.
Wait, are they all just dirty libs?
They're all dirty libs, but even if you're vaccinated, they say do it. I know a lot of people, I know a lot of the experts on Facebook are saying not to, but people who are dealing with it, like Nurse Sandy says, please wear masks, even if you're vaccinated. And it's not really that hard. I'm the only one that should be allowed to not wear a mask because, as you know, I'm an elite athlete and a world-class bodybuilder and one of the hottest dudes you've ever met, right?
Are you wearing a swimming cap?
No. This is my face mask because I want to be safe, but
the face mask.
it's COVID, but I can't see to read, so I had to put it.
It definitely looks like your head is painted silver.
Ooh, that's awesome. I wanna do one with my whole face painted. But anyway, so you know I'm a hot dude and world-class athlete and all that stuff, right?
Of course.
So it's hard for me to wear my mask at the gym. So I know what suffering is all about. I think that's my point. I forget what my point was.
I haven't been to the gym since February 2020.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
I haven't been to the gym since yesterday. And they're saying that more variants are on the way.
Oh my God, I wanted to talk about Lambda.
All right, go for it. And then I'm going to do myths. So you go now, and then we're going to do myths.
So I don't really have too much to say because I don't think there is much to say. But so the Lambda variant's like the next one that everyone's worried about, and it started in Peru, in South America. Yeah, I'm sorry, it's answering a question from the audience if somebody bailed, and she did.
But wait, this listener, Dr. Gus, actually, you'll understand this because you're a doctor. Nurse Sandy didn't bail. She's a nurse working in a hospital. She was pulled into the ER because they have so many cases of COVID, which is a little rude. We'll say that. And Erin was pissed because she's like, I don't know why these nurses got to screw around. But that's why she bailed, is because she's actually saved lives. Nurse Sandy. She actually has. I haven't. Have you, Erin?
I saved a lot. I don't know. Maybe I like said something to someone sometime that made them.
No, but like people were dying in front of her, and she brought them back from death. So
I mean, I created a life. Is that
you did create a life? Well, she created a life too. So you guys cancel each other out. Is that how that works?
I guess so.
All right, go ahead.
So the only thing there isn't much to say about Lambda yet, but there is some early research from the University of Tokyo that says that it could potentially be vaccine resistant.
Oh, nice.
Terrifying.
This is going really fast, so this makes me wonder if we're just being fucked with, because the virus is mutating really fast. Because we know it was created in a lab, so it might just be the one that they want to wipe us all out with.
Have they proven that yet?
I thought that Fauci said, yeah, I dealt with that lab. I know where it came from, because they were trying to blame it on him.
I think China's still denying that. I think that is not fully.
Well,
yeah.
Viruses don't mutate this fast in nature, so I'm assuming. I'm a scientist, so I'm going to assume that it is man-made because of that.
Yeah. That's kind of all aside from it being like ravaging South America and coming from Peru, and they just found cases of it in the US. Like, we don't really know too much more than that yet, but yeah, it's scary stuff, because eventually there's going to be a variant that's going to outsmart the vaccine, whether or not that's the Lambda variant. I don't know. It seems like the Delta variant is still can't go past the vaccine.
I'm sick of it officially.
Yeah.
Officially.
Oh, I mean, I've been sick of this for a long time now.
And I just want to say, Dr. Gus pointed out something that all those unvaccinated people are fucking with the podcast. So we are probably the worst sufferers of all of the people in the pandemic. Thank you, Dr. Gus.
This is, as they say, a vaccine. No. A pandemic of the unvaccinated.
A pandemic of the unvaccinated.
It's just like even if everyone in the country was vaccinated, we still have to vaccinate the world, because as long as the world's it remains unvaccinated, the variants are still going to happen. Eventually, there's going to be one that's outsmarts vaccines, and that's going to affect the rest of the world again. So we have to start thinking bigger outside of our stupid country. I say stupid because half of us are really stupid.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Anyway.
I can't argue that. Go
I
ahead.
want to push my vaccine agenda.
Okay.
But okay. What else you got, David?
Okay, so I have myths about COVID that are going around, and we're gonna tell you whether they're true or not.
Okay.
Okay, the first myth, and I haven't heard people. I've heard people like on the news and in the media say this, but I haven't heard anybody in real life say this. I don't want to get COVID from the vaccine.
That's so stupid. People still think that?
I know, and the people that have actually suffered from getting the vaccine is less than 10%. And nobody's I couldn't find any evidence of anyone who died getting COVID from the vaccine. You can't get COVID from the vaccine.
So there have been people that have had adverse effects from the vaccine.
Adverse effects, but
die, but not from COVID. Like you can't get COVID from the vaccine.
That's what they're saying. You cannot get COVID from the vaccine. But obviously, everything you do in this world, there's going to be someone with adverse effects. You could give a billion people $1 million cash, and that's it, and someone's going to die from that.
I agree. My partner in crime just came back.
I missed the whole episode, huh?
We're just talking.
No, we're talking about the myths of COVID now.
Is there a new variant? I heard that in the intro, and that's what I was interested in.
Well, I covered that, and there's really not much to cover except that it's ravaging South America, and it's in the U.S., and it may potentially be ineffective against vaccines.
Like vaccines may be ineffective against it?
Yes.
The ones we have now, the vaccines we have now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I said when I first learned about it.
Somebody's making a ton of dough off this shit. Okay, the next myth is we don't know what the long-term side effects are. Okay, all of us have been vaccinated. Yeah, the vaccine. That's one of the myths people are spreading, because I don't want to get the vaccine because we don't know the long-term side effects. Okay, we've all been vaccinated, and do you know what the long-term side effects of the polio vaccine were?
Not getting polio.
No more polio.
Listen,
So
some
it's
people, I don't want to discount the people that do have reactions. They're rare, but people can have reactions to not just this vaccine, but any vaccine. Like there's always a risk when you get anything. So that is like a concern, but it's like the data is in our favor because it's so rare.
That's true. And I heard, I didn't do any research, but I read somewhere that long-term effects really means like 2 months with most vaccines. Like if anything is going to happen, it's usually within 2 months, something like that. It's a very short time span. It's not like 2 years from now you're going to grow an arm.
Which would be great. We all need another arm. I need 2 more arms. Yeah, I prefer 2 more arms.
You like 2 or you mean 4?
4 total or 4 more?
You keep upping the ante. This better be a really special vaccine to give us 6 total arms.
Yeah, right?
No, totally. And it just, yeah. Okay, the next myth is, I've already had COVID-19, so I don't need to get vaccinated.
What do you say to them?
Well, it's not true. People can get it again. And the vaccine has proven to lessen the effects. If you get it, it's proven to lessen the effects anyway. So we've all been vaccinated. We've all been vaccinated for other things. And people say, there's a meme going around too that's like, oh, people are so stupid now. Like they show pictures of people getting the vaccine in 1918 and stuff like that. And people are so stupid now. Look at, people were so much more compliant then. No, people protested the world round in 1918. People always have protested. They always will. People have always been stupid. We're actually smarter now than we ever have been. I don't know if you guys know this, but the illiteracy rate is the lowest it's ever been, and there's more people educated than have ever been educated in the world, ever in the history of the world. So it's going to take some time, but still, like, half of the world is still illiterate.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, but it's like, we haven't talked about this at all, but it's like, I don't know if you guys have heard any of the stories or like heard any of the first accounts of like what's going on in Afghanistan.
Yeah,
But
that's
it's like,
a podcast.
we should do a podcast on that because we are so lucky and we are living in such a fantasy land. We really are.
I recently had that realization that, like, because I, especially in the recent years, have complained a lot about the U.S. and talked about leaving and been really frustrated about things. But it's all about perspective, because if you look at a lot of the countries in the world, we have it so good here, and we do have to keep that in mind. Not everything's perfect.
Totally.
Never will be, but man, it could be.
But,
especially
oh
for
my
women.
God. Light years different. Light years different. The one thing I have to say about Afghanistan, then we're going to stop talking about that until our podcast on Afghanistan, but we should do it because it breaks my heart. I'm so sick of people saying the 20-year war, the longest war in the history of... Bitch, we've been fucking with Afghanistan since at least the 1970s. We bombed them in the 70s. We armed them in the 70s. We invaded them in the 70s. All the way up till now. Fucking Clinton bombed them and killed people and took out people. We've been fucking with that country and other countries around it for over 50 years. So if one more person says 20 years, I'm going to fucking go off.
David, it's been 20 years.
Well, you know
All
where
right.
it's coming from. It's like the invasion to find Osama bin Laden, like that particular war.
But it's just, it's like, the thing that pisses me off, because it's a political soundbite, and it's just so annoying. It's so annoying how much bullshit both sides just throw. That's all. Oh, go ahead, yeah.
Or maybe you guys covered this in COVID, but you know what the big breaking news today was with COVID, correct?
No.
Huge breaking news.
No,
Did it wipe out the Trump family? That's not nice. Go ahead, what?
Joe Rogan has COVID.
Oh, really? Is he okay?
Really?
Yeah, he did a video, I guess, on his Instagram saying that they're throwing the kitchen sink at it, and they're just, giving him all these different drugs. And the news that I was just catching earlier tonight briefly was saying everyone was on him for a specific drug that he's taking that I forget which one it is, but there's one specific drug that apparently people who aren't vaccinating are really
Is he not vaccinated?
into. Well, it's not clear whether he's vaccinated or not.
So probably not.
He seems like the kind of guy who wouldn't vaccinate.
Here's so I'm going to assume that he's not vaccinated, because usually you'd say you are.
Yeah.
There are certain people who won't say they are, who are, but it serves them to not admit that. But
Yeah.
I'm not sure where he lands, actually.
Well, either way, assuming he's the people that are like, I don't want to put that shit in my body, but they'll pump themselves with whatever drugs, for example, what Joe Rogan's taking, which could have worse side effects, or they just eat processed food all day, which is just putting chemicals and toxins.
Yeah.
So
He doesn't eat processed food. He is into health stuff, but he does take MDMA, and he does take weird, wacky drugs and shit. He's talked about it. He's a whack job. He's one of those people that smokes pot all the time and just starts believing his thoughts. That's what he strikes me of. I'd like to have a conversation with him, because people that are regular pot smokers, they just, every thought is valid to them. Anyway, and I will say this though, I will say this. I heard a special report on NPR where they're trying to get people vaccinated. So they did a poll of a lot of Republicans, because they're obviously the ones that aren't vaccinating as much. And they talked to them, and they just were having conversations with them, and they talked to hundreds of them, and they would give sound bites of people, and they're like, I'm not doing it because, Trump said you shouldn't take any. And they said, well, he did say you should take it. He said you shouldn't. Then he said you should. But there was a point when he said you should. And they're like, no, he didn't. Like, what he's really saying, like, we understand. We read between the lines. And then they were like, but you realize he got it, and all of the GOP that you're quoting, they all got the vaccine. And they were just like, well, yeah, but they didn't want to get it. Like,
what's interesting is I've heard people talking about how it's the Trump vaccine and praising him for being the thing that is saving us from COVID, because it's only under his administration that we would even have this vaccine now. Yet that's he didn't trumpet the fact he didn't trump it the fact that he got it. He got it, but it wasn't like a big deal. He didn't use it as a leader should to encourage his followers to follow suit.
No, totally. And did you hear he was at a rally last week and he told people to get vaccinated and they booed him? So that might be the thing that loses him followers. Just insane people. There's not good. It's like, this is what it's like to me. It's like if Jesus came down and he showed up at a white evangelical church, they would call him a fraud and they would throw rocks at him because he isn't white. Like, this is the insanity we're dealing with, that people won't give up this insanity. Anyways, where are our listeners? Go ahead, yeah.
There was another thing that struck me about COVID, and this is like not just the Delta variant, just COVID in general. It was from an article from National Geographic, and I clicked on it because it was talking about asymptomatic COVID. Not a lot of people have been talking about that, but they're saying about 35% of cases of COVID are asymptomatic cases, and there was a study done of there was 104 passengers from that cruise ship that were studied, and 76 of them had asymptomatic COVID out of the 104 who had COVID. And they all did CT scans, and they found that 54% of those people had things in their body that were abnormal due to the COVID. So they had like patchy gray spots that like signal fluid buildup in their lungs, and there was like signs that like pointed towards like clots and inflammation that just were never there before. And it's something that's just not being talked about or really studied very much further. But like, even if you get COVID and you don't feel bad, you don't end up at the hospital, you could still have long-term effects. And that to me is like some of the scariest stuff.
I would agree.
Totally.
And also now that there's breakthrough cases, it's like you get the vaccine and you still may get, granted, maybe a lesser intense version of it. A friend of mine just was tested positive, and he's been tired and he lost taste. So he's been napping more and he lost taste. But in general, that's about all the symptoms he's been feeling. But with the stuff that you just said, like, what sort of long-term effects will that even have? Who knows?
Yeah. And I just want to say, I want to give God, I forgot what the word is, but anyways, we're not 100% gung-ho like any one political movement or anything like that. Like, I am ready to turn on the government, and I am ready to turn on the medical industry at a moment's notice. And I'm ready to protest and tell them to fuck off, and I'm not taking your vaccine. But I keep looking for actual evidence for why a person would not take the vaccine. And there is no evidence to show why you shouldn't take it. Like, there's no credible evidence. There's just hearsay.
It's just the fear of the unknown, I guess.
Yeah, but
it's just like, it hasn't been around that long. We don't really know.
I know, but go ahead, yeah.
But you're right. There's no evidence.
It's also an opportunity to tap into a lot of people's innate desire to not do what they're told to do.
Oh,
which is 100% me.
So I think it's just, this is a perfect way for people to express their independence. Demand.
It's one predominant type of person, though. It's the white evangelical Christians that are the biggest source of not getting it.
Are you sure?
Are they?
That, I mean, well, I heard that there's a liberal, like, hey, you can't tell us what to do, hippie, that are wary of the government.
I don't think that's the majority of people that aren't getting vaccinated. A lot of it's young people of all ethnicities.
That's true, there is. Here we have CB Actor Traveler asks, how do you convince anti-vaccine people to get the vaccine?
I don't think you can. I think the only thing is, like, eventually, if vaccinations are required to do normal things, it'll just become so hard to live in society without it that people will just get it.
And for a certain percentage of those people, though, they'll just dig in deeper in their resistance, I think. So there's just going to be a certain percentage of people who dig in. Maybe it takes them losing someone close to them.
No. Okay, on this report I heard on NPR, and it was all Trump supporters. And even one woman was like, my husband died of it, but I'm not going to get it because it's still a hoax. And they're like, but wait a minute, he died from it. He died from COVID. But why isn't that? And he's because he could have died anyways. Like, and it's like, so what? Like, you can die from the flu. Like, there's no sense. Like, there's no sense in what they say back. The only thing that helped convince people to get the vaccine, and CB Actor Traveler, this is an answer to you, is the only thing that got them to sway their opinion is facts from a credible source. What they consider, so it has to be what they consider. So you have to find everybody's credible source.
So, like, OAN has to start touting the vaccine.
Who does?
Like, I don't know. Like, OAN is that, like, a really conservative news source?
Yeah, it's like the.
Oh.
I feel like everyone who gets it has to. Anyone who gets it and isn't saying that they get it, I feel like you should have to say that you've gotten it. Because if you're playing that game of, I got it, but I'm playing like these people for whatever reason, and talking about how it's medical freedom and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's probably the most disheartening example of humanity right now.
Well, this is what they said. This is interesting because oh my god, we have a huge one here. Let me finish mine, and then you can read this. This is what they said. Is that they would have people say, I got the vaccine, and they even said Trump got it, and these other political people that you follow got it, and they're like, oh, they had to get it. They didn't. It wasn't that. It was facts of like, this is what happened to this person, and if you don't get the vaccine, this is what could happen to your body. They had to tell like cause and effect. That was the only thing that swayed. Like, people endorsing had nothing to them because they would just dismiss it. But anyways, do one of you guys want to read this comment from Caitlin?
Sure.
Little Caitlin, go ahead.
I also think the people look for something to rationalize their beliefs that are already existing. So someone will say, "There's that one person who died of the vaccine," and that's that trumps everything else, all the other evidence. Okay, I thought my mom was going to be here, but I'll just say my manager at work has had COVID twice, almost died the second time, and now deals with constant blood clots in her legs. And she still refuses to get vaccinated.
So this must be the daughter of Nurse Sandy.
This is Nurse Sandy's daughter. Everybody welcome Caitlin. Daughter Caitlin. Wow, Caitlin, have you... Because Caitlin let me tell you, Caitlin does not suffer fools. So Caitlin, have you slapped her or have you pulled her hair told her that she's an idiot? And why is she a Trumper? We want to know, is she a white evangelical Trumper? And I'm sorry, Caitlin, your mom didn't show up because of COVID. She had to work overtime in the ER. At least that's what she told me. And let me know if she's lying, because that would be horrible. I don't think she's lying. What?
It's a bummer. I would love to have had her here, but it's also very fitting, because it really fits into our narrative right now, which is like, get the vaccine.
Yeah, totally.
People aren't vaccinated.
So I looked at Joe Rogan. He has COVID-19 and is taking the unproven drug ivermectin. Ivermectin is this drug that people have been saying it's a drug that it has existed. It's a deworming veterinary drug that is formulated for use in cows and horses, and sometimes used to prescribe people with head lice or skin conditions. So there's been some people saying that this drug is a valid treatment. But the medical, I believe this is the one that they're saying the medical like the FDA and so forth, ignored because they needed the emergency status to get this vaccine through, which is actually bullshit because you just need to declare emergency status. You don't need other, if there's other treatments, it still doesn't matter. If it's like a pandemic and it's an emergency, we need a vaccine, they can still authorize that emergency status. So this will be the news on Joe Rogan if you look it up, is that he's taking this drug that is terrible. So
wow. That's what the horse drug that everybody keeps making fun of on. I didn't even get that. So Nurse Sandy, I guess she just got off work, says, yes, I was working.
Yeah.
And she says, crazy busy with COVID. So Nurse Sandy, I don't know. I don't know what to say. Go ahead.
One other thing that I read in that National Geographic article, which I thought was interesting, is they tested a whole bunch of people, like college athletes, so like young people who tested positive for COVID-19, because I think there's a lot of young people that are unvaccinated because I think that they're kind of immune to issues. But they had cardiac MRI scans, and 37 people, and it was a big study, so it was 1,600 people, so not a lot, but 37 people had tested positive for COVID, had inflammation of the heart muscle, so evidence of myocarditis, it's called. So it's like a young, healthy person that now has heart issues.
This ties into the Joe Rogan thing, because he was under a lot of fire for saying that young people in particular who are healthy and we believed or thought or suspected not susceptible to these conditions. He was saying, if I was a young 21-year-old healthy person, I wouldn't get the vaccine. And he has like 13 million listeners, so that ties in directly there.
Yeah, so I just debunked that. And listen, it sounds like it's not a majority of people that have these issues, but enough people do where it's concerning, and it could be anybody. And like, why do you want to risk it? It's just not worth it. Okay,
Caitlin's chimed in. David, do you have something?
I was just gonna say Joe Rogan is the last person I would listen to for medical advice. But go ahead with Caitlin. Caitlin's follow-up. Here we go.
So this woman, her manager, is not a Trumper, but she's actually a black lady from New Orleans. But she is under the impression there's versions of the vaccines that's meant to wipe out black people.
Oh.
Well,
I actually don't blame her here. There's a follow-up from Caitlin.
I understand where that comes from, because there's a long history of being really shitty to black people and health.
Yeah, exactly. There's cases of
Yeah, Caitlin, I don't know if you know, if you look up Tuskegee, there was the Tuskegee, they were actual doctors and scientists that would bring in black people who were suffering from venereal diseases, and they would give medicine to the white patients and not give it to the black patients, so they could see what the effects of venereal diseases were on these men. Not over 1 or 2 or 3 years, over 40 years, they were doing this to black men in Tuskegee. So that's just one of the things that happened in this country, and that's why black people don't have a lot of faith in the medical industry, which, anyways. Go ahead.
I have issues with having faith in not just the medical industry, but the government. So, like, I do have some sympathy for some of these arguments, but, like, it's still, like, it's not enough.
Yeah, I also feel like there's so much financial wealth that's been lost because of COVID that should make you realize everyone's trying to do the right thing with the vaccine at this point. Like, they just want you to work and to get the financial system back in order. So that'll fit into your conspiracy theories.
They're also saying too that there's like a lot of long haul COVID effects. So some people can get COVID and then have issues years down the road. And there's the University of California, from their records, I think that 32% of cases can go into long haul COVID status. And it might not be the same severity, but just, have varying degrees of issues over time. But like a fifth of those people were asymptomatic. A fifth of those people were asymptomatic. So even if you're asymptomatic, you can still be a long haul COVID patient. So these are all things that I did not know.
You just think of chickenpox. End up with shingles later. That's like a perfect example of something that already exists. So Caitlin also said that we used to give ivermectin to cattle on the ranch, and it can severely mess with humans if there's too much contact.
Oh boy.
With the cattle? What are you doing with the cattle?
Yeah, she worked on a cattle ranch. So she knows. So she's Her mother is our medical expert, and Caitlin is our cattle expert.
Oh boy.
They won't
And
get
you guys-
vaccinated, but they want ivermectin.
Do you know guys both know Beth Sibbett?
I do not. I'm happy that she's here though.
So Nurse Sandy, please comment. We definitely want to have you back on as a nurse. But comment if we're saying the right things, and if you have any. I read some of your quotes already that were heartbreaking, and it made Aaron cry a little bit.
So I have a question. This is really important. I think this is probably the biggest question of the podcast. So does it look like I dyed my hair gray and then it's just the roots are growing out, or that I took my hair and just dipped it in gray on the ends? Is that what's happening here?
From
frosted tips.
Did I get
From where I am, it looks like you're an ombre girl. It looks like it's blonde on the bottom, not gray.
Yeah.
And you let it ombre. So you're an ombre bitch. You're a basic bitch.
Finally.
I know, right? Okay, the next. Oh.
There's another thing for people that have kids. They're like, oh, open the schools. We don't want masks on our kids. So kids are getting all kinds of issues now, and they're developing something called MISC, which is multi-symptom inflammatory syndrome, which can cause fever, rash, abdominal pain, vomiting, diarrhea. It can affect their organs, and this is can be children under 14, so young kids are having issues. Just throwing that out there because there's all kinds of every day I feel like there's this school district just banned mask mandates. So now, you can't wear a mask in school if you want. So,
but that's in Texas and Arkansas and Alabama.
Yeah. So this shit's happening all over the country. It's vaccines are one thing, but now you won't let people wear masks, or do you, we're refusing this one basic public health safety tip.
It's so stupid. I don't understand. I understand not wanting to wear masks. None of us do, but I don't understand getting mad at other people wearing masks. I would prefer that even after every disease is cured, that you people still wear masks and stay away from me. That's what I would prefer in life, in general. And Sandy, we asked a question earlier, Nurse Sandy, if you're still listening. Why aren't they vaccinating the children?
I think they're still doing studies, right? For safety.
Oh, they're still. God, they're screwing around, man. Bless you. All right, do you guys want to hear the next myth that we're going to debunk about COVID?
One. Are we just doing one tonight, guys?
We have not shared that yet.
Oh.
You just blew the lid off of our surprise.
No.
Just Nurse Sandra says certain ages are. The next myth is the vaccine might hurt my fertility. First of all, there is no evidence that it affects anybody's fertility in any way. And the second point is if you have this sort of ignorance towards it, I would prefer that you were sterile. Anybody?
Yeah. I don't know what to say about that. I don't want anybody to be infertile.
I want everyone to be infertile.
Okay.
Sandra Jean says yes. About yes, I don't know about what. Nurse Sandy says yes. Nurse Sandy, we don't know what you're saying yes about. And Caitlin says, that's a bonus in my opinion. Yes. Caitlin also wants the entire world sterilized, just like I do. I'm going to just go through my myths really fast because I only have a couple more. I'm young and healthy, so I don't need to get vaccinated. Well, Aaron already debunked that. So Nurse Aaron says, don't be a homo, get vaccinated. This one I love because I have seen this a lot on social media, and I think that you guys have probably heard it in real life. My faith will protect me, so I don't need to get vaccinated.
If you're listening, I'm slapping my hand on my forehead.
Oh, Nurse Sandy wants to infertilize the stupid too. I'm all for it.
That would prevent idiocracy from coming true.
It would prevent idiocracy. Oh, and another thing they said that they said on this NPR report that I heard, they said that it is the states with the Republican governors where the rises are happening. You know, there's more COVID rise in other states. So, okay. Your faith will not protect you. Your faith does not protect you from anything, ever. Your faith didn't protect you. And this is not only Christians, Jews too. Your faith did not protect you from World War II. Christians, your faith did not protect you from anything. Like, people are dying. Like, you still get broken legs. You still get sick. You still get in car crashes. Your faith just has never protected you.
David, that's God's plan.
I know, and God is a dick. Your God is a straight up dictified dickwhack. He's an asshole of epic proportions. And don't even get me started, because I will go through the Bible with you and I will show you what a fucking asshole he is.
So, David, it sounds like you're a believer in GDP.
What's GDP?
God's dick plan.
What? What? Yeah, okay, I guess.
God's dick, so he has a plan. It's God's dick plan.
Oh, God, he's such a dick. God is such a dick. And the listener says, faith to the same guy who cursed the world with COVID in the first place. I know, right?
Thanks a lot.
And another thing I've seen on social media is, like, they say that Satan is causing COVID and everything. No. In the Bible, it was not Satan who brought the plagues. It was not Satan who killed the masses. It was not Satan who brought evil to the world. It was God. God said, I am the Lord of evil. I bring it to the world. And God killed tons of humans with his fucking plagues. It was God, bitch. Bring a Christian on here. Where a Christian at? Because I want to go off on white Christian. Okay, sorry. One more myth. The FDA vaccines only have emergency use authorization, not full FDA approval, but they just approved Pfizer. The other ones don't. But Sandra, Nurse Sandy, does that mean anything?
Yes, I think it does. Maybe. I don't know. It didn't really personally for me because I got it beforehand. But
okay. Anything else you want to say?
I think that it was a pretty solid episode. We got through a lot of really important information, and if there's anyone unvaxxed out there, maybe we helped sway them in the good direction.
Yeah, we love you. Get vaccinated.
Yeah. Is there anybody here not vaccinated? I guess not. Nurse Sanders is asking, wait, what? And I forget what. Oh, why aren't... Does it mean anything that all the vaccines aren't FDA approved? Should we, except for Pfizer, should we freak out about that?
Well, we're going to wrap up this episode, and we do have a special surprise.
Yeah, nobody go anywhere. Go ahead, yeah, what?
That is a special surprise. We're doing an episode-lit. So a tiny little baby episode right after this one. So stick around. It's going to be short and sweet.
Yeah, Nurse Sandy says no, and Beth Sivit says no. She's our other medical expert. Okay, so don't go anywhere, everybody. We're going to be right back. Bitch.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
Don't go anywhere, bitch. God damn it. So much. Wait. Oh my God, I lost it.